welcome. I'm very happy to be here with you today, and thanks for watching. So I'm Kate Garland, and I am super passionate about empowering people with natural solutions and natural forms of healthcare. And as a yoga therapist for the last over 10 years, I've helped people with postures, biomechanical changes, breathing techniques, stress reduction techniques, other lifestyle changes to help with healing. But what has been most impactful for my students and for my friends, and most importantly for my family, has been proactive healthcare in the form of therapeutic grade essential oils. So that's what I'd like to share with you today. And maybe some of you feel a little bit like I used to. See if you relate to this at all. So I used to go into a health food store and say, I'm gonna buy some essential oils. And I would go in and I would see a whole bunch of oils that I had no idea what they were used for. And then I would look at lavender, right, because everyone kind of knows how to use lavender. And I'd see 10 different lavenders at 10 different price points. And I'd get really confused, and I didn't understand why there was a difference, and I didn't know kind of who to trust and which company to go with, and inevitably I would walk out of the store without anything at all. And I'm not kidding when I say this happened to me like a dozen times. So that's why I'm doing this webinar today, and that's why I've been teaching classes for the last 3.5 years, is to maybe dispel some of the myths around essential oils. Yeah, hi Tanya. Maybe dispel some of the myths around essential oils, and maybe how hard they are to use, and just kind of diffuse, I think, some of that confusion, and show you how really simple they are to use. So let's get started. Let's start with what I would say 5 facts about essential oils that you may or may not know, or I might give you a refinement on what you know, or an addition on what you know. So the first thing, and maybe the most important thing, is that essential oils are not new, right? So plants have always been man's first medicine. In fact, plants were man's only medicine up until about 100 years ago. So over-the-counter medications and prescription drugs, while sometimes amazing and life-saving, they're really only about 100 years old. And for several thousands, if not 10,000 years prior to that, we used plants, right? And this really shouldn't be strange, probably, especially for those of you watching this webinar, because all of you have already used plant medicine in some form, right? You've taken a cup of chamomile tea when you were stressed or needed to be soothed or help you to sleep, right? You've maybe taken some honey for a sore throat when you had a cold, and maybe you've put aloe on your skin, right, for like a burn or a sunburn, right? So all of you who are watching, I'm sure, have used plant medicine before. This really isn't new. So let's talk specifically about essential oils and why you might want to use them, or if you're already using them, how you can kind of maybe up your usage on your day-to-day usage. So the second thing we'll say about essential oils is, of course, that they're natural, right? So number 2 is that they're natural. So what are they exactly? They're the highly concentrated aromatic compounds distilled from live plants. So this makes them a little different from herbs, which we'll talk about in a second. A lot more potent. So they come from live plants, so they can be distilled from the leaves of a plant, from the flowers of a plant, from the stem, from the bark, even the root of a plant. And the other thing is, remember, because they're natural, you use them at home. So they're very easy for that proactive self-care that you can just use at home. You don't need a prescription for them. You don't need to go see your primary care physician and get a referral and get a prescription and go to the drugstore. You don't even need to go to the drugstore to get an over-the-counter medication. Hopefully they're just there in your home and you use them as you need to. So number 3 about essential oils is, of course, that they're very, very effective. And if you haven't used them a lot, particularly for healthcare, some of the things that I might say today, you're going to be like, really? And I get it. I used to do the same thing. I had a couple people tell me something early on in my essential oil journey where I was like, no, I don't think so, until I tried it and had amazing benefits from it and is really converted. So if I say some things today that you're like, that sounds a little woo-woo and weird to me, I get it, but you might want to try it and kind of experience it for yourself and see how it works for you. So they work with your body to help relieve symptoms immediately and deal with the root cause, right? Which is something that Western medicine isn't always so good with. So you kind of get this twofold healing of helping you feel better right away and then also healing the root cause. All essential oils are naturally antiseptic and antimicrobial, so they're great to clean your house with and great to support your immune system with. We'll talk about that again in a little bit. Essential oils cross the cell wall, which, by the way, just about no pharmaceutical drug does, and that's where viruses live, so they're very effective. And because they're so potent, the dosing is super easy. The dosing is always going to be between like 1 and 3 drops. You're never going to use a bottle at a time. That's why these little bottles last such a long time. They seem small, but you have these for months and months, even with daily use, if not even longer. So dosing is really simple because of that strength in those essential oils. Number 4 is essential oils are very safe. Everyone can use them. We might make a few modifications for some demographics, but in general, everyone can use essential oils, and they're virtually side effect free, which is, again, something that differs a lot from a lot of the over-counter and prescription drugs that we have these days. And the oils that I use are doTERRA essential oils. And there's many reasons why I use doTERRA essential oils, but I think the primary reason and the reason why I'm going to talk about doTERRA today is that they've really set the bar on certified pure therapeutic grade oils. They've completely raised the industry standard on how these aromatic plants are grown, where they're grown, how they're harvested, how they're distilled. And then what you really should know about doTERRA is they are a science company. And so any little bottle that gets into your hands is going to be tested no less than 18 different times by various different tests, various different times in the production of the essential oil before it gets into your hand by third parties that doTERRA pays for. And so they're not just testing for purity and potency, right, to make sure there's no pesticides in it, heavy metals in it, any contaminants in it, but also, and here's where doTERRA I think really differs, they're actually testing the chemical profile, that very complex chemical profile that each essential oil has, to make sure that it has the profile that is going to be the most therapeutically beneficial for your physical, mental, and emotional health. So we'll talk about doTERRA essential oils today. So while I discuss those, just kind of keep in mind some of these recommendations might not be for essential oils that you bought in a store at home. And so that's a good segue to talk about how we use these essential oils. So most of you are familiar already with the term aromatherapy, right? Just breathing essential oils in. So you can see my diffuser behind me. That's one of our favorite and certainly one of the simplest ways to receive the benefits of essential oils. And we can also just smell them in our hands. So that's number 1, aromatically. That's kind of a given with essential oils. And of course, they smell amazing too. The second way that we use essential oils is topically. So applying them right on your body. And we'll talk about where and when you might apply essential oil. And then the third way that we use essential oils, our doTERRA essential oils, is most of our oils, there's really only a few exceptions, most of our oils can be taken internally as well. And I, particular, am a lover of using essential oils internally. And if you don't want to use them internally, you don't have to. Using them aromatically and topically is super potent. You could just stop there. But there are many reasons why you might want to use them internally as well. So again, these recommendations that I'm going to give you now are for the doTERRA oils. And if you have something else at home, you might want to just stick with using those aromatically and in your diffuser, a couple drops on your pillow, and maybe experiment with some doTERRA oils on the topically and particularly internal usage. All right, so let's talk about some essential oils, shall we? I wish you had some of these at home, and if you do, whip them out and play along with me, would you? But I'm going to talk just about 8 today, 8 essential oils that I wrote in the description of this video in this class that I think will change your life, and that really is true. I think any essential oil can change your life, but here's kind of like my 8 go-tos. I probably use all 8 of these almost every day. Certainly I probably use 6 out of 8 of them for sure every day. So let's get going, shall we? So the first essential oil I want to talk about today is one you're already probably familiar with, and it's not lavender. It's another oil I'm sure you've used before, which is peppermint. So peppermint is distilled from the leaves of the peppermint plant, and we actually source our peppermint from Washington State. And you have probably all, again, back to natural plant medicine, used a cup of peppermint tea, maybe to soothe a stomach upset at some point in your life, right? So the most recent research shows that because essential oils are so much more potent than herbs, than dried plants, you would have to drink 28 cups of peppermint tea to get the effectiveness of one drop of peppermint essential oil. So that's a lot of tea. Kind of gives me a little tummy ache just thinking about it. So peppermint, wonderful for any type of tummy upset. The main way I use it, and use it pretty much like this every day, is for energy, for focus, for concentration, for energy, and for energy. Okay, so I don't know a whole lot of people who don't want to have more energy in their life. So I'm going to put one, if I get 2 drops, in the palm of my hand, and I'm going to rub my palms together, not so much my fingers. That's the one big side effect of essential oils. Don't get them in your eyes, right? So try to keep it off your fingers, just my palms, and then I'm going to tent my nose, not my eyes. I'm going to tent my nose, and I'm going to take 3 deep breaths. And because I breathe pretty long, I'll just do 2 for the sake of brevity today. Right? So those aromatic compounds hit the olfactory bulbs in my nose and then up into my limbic system right away. So in the brain, the limbic system has everything to do with mood, memory, emotions, decision making, right? And then I'm going to take the rest and I'm going to rub it, you can see, on the back of my neck. So in a couple minutes, I'm going to get this nice coolness and tingling in the back of my neck that is going to keep my energy up for the next couple hours. So better than Starbucks, I think. Certainly a little bit more natural and a little bit better for your body. I love my cup of coffee too, but in moderation. And peppermint, you know, I will enjoy several times a day when I need that little pick-me-up. So tummy upset, energy, immediately clears the pathways in your nose. So sinus congestion, stuffy nose, coughs, colds, you can apply right to the chest. Amazing for that. It will help bring down fevers in children. You can apply that to the bottoms of the feet or the back. You'll need to dilute it. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Really great for pain, really great for headaches. I apply to my temples, don't get it in your eyes, and the back of the neck. And also peppermint's particularly really helpful for nerve pain. So if you've pinched a nerve in your neck, or you know you have nerve pain somewhere in your body, peppermint is going to be really helpful for that. The other way I like to take it is if I do want to take it internally, whether I want fresh breath, I want a little pick-me-up, or I want that focus, or I have an upset stomach, I'll show you this, kind of fun. I'll do what we affectionately refer to as the tequila lick. And so just kind of putting a little half a drop right on your hand and then licking that right off is a great way to instantly get the benefits of peppermint or many essential oils. So, all right, I'm pumped up and ready to go. Let's see what Brittany says. Oh, 8 oils. Oh, Brittany's saying her little keychain has little drams for 8 oils, so she's gonna fill up her little travel kit with the 8 oils I'm recommending. So there you go. That's peppermint. That's our number 1. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is a blend. So peppermint was a single oil, and so now we'll talk about one of doTERRA's proprietary blends, which is called On Guard. So there you are. On On Guard, and lots of people love On Guard. This is really an oil you cannot live without. This is our protective blend. And the way I like to describe On Guard is it's like a double-edged sword. So it's going to do two things. It's going to help kill pathogens and bacteria and seasonal threats that would make you sick, at the same time boosting your own immune system. So when you're trying to stay healthy during cold and flu season, while traveling, while other people in your home are sick or people are coming in and out of your home and they're ill, this is the oil for you. It is amazing. So I'll tell you, there's so many different ways you can use On Guard. I could really just teach a whole class on it, but I'll give you a few. Probably my favorite way to use On Guard is the simplest, and simple does not mean not effective, very, very effective way, which is simply in the diffuser. So it kills pathogens in the air on contact and up to 8 hours after you have stopped diffusing. So that's pretty impressive. And I know families who don't use On Guard any other way, but just diffusing it in their home, in the common areas for 3 or 4 hours after kids get home from school and the parents come home from work, and they see a dramatic difference in how often they get sick that cold and flu season. So just diffuse On Guard is fantastic. The second way you can use it is topically, right? So this is a hotter oil. This has orange in it, rosemary, eucalyptus, but also clove. And clove is a hot oil. So what that means is if you apply it neat, think whiskey, no ice, right? Neat, just directly on the skin, nothing else, most people will feel like a heat sensation, and some people will even have a little bit more of a sensitivity to it. So this would definitely be an oil that we would dilute. Now, just like whiskey, putting an, if I have 2 ounces of whiskey and my husband has 2 ounces of whiskey and I have an ice cube in mine and he's drinking his neat, just because I have an ice cube in mine, does that make my whiskey any less effective? No. Does that mean I'm drinking any less whiskey? No. I just might drink it more slowly than my husband who's having the whiskey neat, right? So it's the same thing with essential oils. You are not making the essential oils less effective. In fact, the research that's coming out now is actually saying that when you use a carrier oil, which I'll show you in a moment, to dilute an essential oil, you actually might be increasing your absorption and how hard that essential oil works for you. So you can really use any carrier oil, and in a pinch you can use kind of like a clean lotion, but what we like to use is what's called fractionated coconut oil. And so fractionated just means that the major fatty lipid chains have been removed from coconut oil. You can use regular coconut oil. I love coconut oil, but the fractionated, with those major fatty lipid chains removed, a couple things going to happen. One, it's going to stay liquid, right? It won't solidify if it's cooler than 76 degrees, which is what the melting point for coconut oil is. 2, it's non-greasy. It gets absorbed right into your skin. And then 3, it doesn't stain. So in my house, that's kind of important. I have a 4-year-old daughter, Saoirse, who loves essential oils. And, she can spill a bottle of this all over our, nice 400 thread count sheets, and it's not going to stain. It's not going to stain your clothing. It's not going to stain carpet, anything like that. So that's why we like the fractionated coconut oil. And everyone who's using essential oils should have some sort of carrier oils, because it's just going to stretch your essential oils. It's just going to make them last a lot longer. So what I would do, let's say if I had been somewhere with a friend who was coming down with a cold, or a client who was just getting off sick, I would put like 5 or 6 drops of the fractionated coconut oil in my hand, and then I would just use 1 or 2 drops of the On Guard, right? I said 1 to 3 drops, right? So 1 or 2 drops, and then I'd rub my palms together, and I'd probably apply On Guard on the bottoms of my feet. So that might be new to you if you're newer to essential oils. So you can put any essential oil on the bottoms of your feet. Any oil, any time, any reason. I don't care if you're constipated, have a headache, or depressed. Any essential oil on the bottoms of the feet will be rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream within 30 seconds, will have affected every cell in your body within 30 minutes, and will give you relief and also work at healing that root symptom. So On Guard is an oil I really like on the bottoms of my feet. My daughter Saoirse probably gets On Guard on the bottoms of her feet before bed. about every other day. And I just make my own little roller bottle for her so I can just rub it on. Actually, she does it herself, and it's super easy, and it doesn't spill, and it's all pre-mixed, and it's ready to go. The third way you can use On Guard, and I really like this one too, it's probably my second favorite way to use it, is On Guard is a fantastic oil to use internally. So the one rule with using essential oils internally is never in plastic, never in plastic, never in plastic. So this is the water bottle that I use, which is actually a glass. I also have a stainless steel one that I use sometimes. If you're at home, you can use ceramic as well. Never plastic. So I would just put, you know, this, I think this is 20 ounces. I would probably put 2 drops max of On Guard in here. That's it. And then I would drink this throughout the day to, again, kind of help support my own immune system, particularly if I suspect I've been around someone or I get a tickle in my throat, something like that. So On Guard, like peppermint, another great oil that you can use aromatically, you can use topically, although you probably want to dilute it, and then you can use internally as well. No plastic. All right? So there is this thing going around. I don't know if you've heard about this yet, maybe. Maybe you've heard it on the news or heard a friend talk about it. But there's this thing going around. It's called stress. Have you heard about that? Anyone heard about stress? Give me a like if you've heard about stress or no stress or are close friends with stress. So would you like an essential oil for stress? I would like to give you one. So there's many actually that will help with calming the nervous system, with occasional anxiety, but I'll tell you what I think is a foundational oil for all emotional and mental health issues, which is another blend called Balance. So Balance is aptly named. It's exactly that. It is our grounding blend. And this is a very potent oil that's made all from the aromatic plants that are large trees. So spruce, frankincense, blue chamomile, blue tansy. It'll actually have a blue tint to it. And so I want you to think for a moment of the energetics of a large tree, right? Think about what a tree represents. What is it symbolic of? It's strong. It's sturdy. It's rooted in the ground, right? The storm comes through, and what does it just do? It just blows in the wind, and it just weathers that storm, and it's just still standing the next day. Would any of you like to feel a little bit more like that? All right, so Balance is your oil. Safe for children, safe for the geriatric community. Anyone can use it. So a way I might use Balance during the day is to just kind of take a little drop on my fingers. This one I really like behind my ears. So behind your ears is a great place to put essential oils. I could do back of my neck too, but since I already have the peppermint there, I'll put the Balance on the backs of my ears to just kind of help calm my nervous system, bring me back to my best self, right? Get me centered again. Always take a moment to breathe that in, and there you go. Balance also, the main way I use it at home, and again for my daughter, she's had this since she was 3 months old when I found doTERRA, is again on the bottoms of the feet before bed. So if you have any struggling with sleep whatsoever, I highly recommend trying Balance on the bottoms of your feet, massaged into the soles for about 20 seconds on each foot before you go to bed. I think you will find it a game changer. It's a miraculous oil. It is not expensive at all. And of all doTERRA's oils, it is the one oil I personally call the non-negotiable oil, meaning I think everybody needs it in your life. I don't care male, female, how old, how healthy, how sick you are. I don't care. I feel like everyone needs Balance. We live in a society with too much stimulation, too much going on. We're wearing too many hats. Too much noise and just sensory output and electromagnetic frequencies in the air, and Balance is that oil really to kind of bring you back to your best self. So that's Balance. And then let's talk about one of the oils that is in Balance. So here's another single oil, which is frankincense. So when I say frankincense, you think Maybe baby Jesus, right? And so my running joke is, if it was good enough for him, it's good enough for you, right? But frankincense really is a special oil. And there's a reason why it's kind of tied into the wise men and that story. We call it the king of oils. And there's a little phrase that you might want to remember, which is, when in doubt, get your frankincense out. When in doubt, get your frankincense out. So if you are having some sort of condition, mental, emotional, or physical, and you're not sure which essential oil to use, it's very simple. Grab your frankincense and use it however you want, and I guarantee you'll probably see some support and some relief in that area, and maybe more than just a little. So frankincense is really amazing for so many things. It's the essential oil for dogs. If you have dogs, you're going to want this at home. It's so all-purpose. It can be used aromatically, it can be used topically, and it can be used internally. So the main way I use frankincense every day is I take some of my fractionated coconut oil. I put 4 or 5 drops again in my hand, 2 drops of the frankincense, and I do my whole face, neck, and décolleté before bed. And that is my night cream, so to speak, because it's extremely rejuvenative for skin. You can really use it for any skin issue. Seriously, any skin issue. It'll be supportive. And it really is helps with cellular vitality. doTERRA also, and you don't need to take my word for this, there's about 35 plus studies that say this. The frankincense has the property of what's called apoptosis. And so apoptosis is a fancy medical term meaning in its presence, cancer cells cannot replicate. Right? So it's a very powerful oil. And so what I do is I take, after I've done my face every night, I also put a drop on my tongue. And I take 1 drop internally every day for just overall cellular support, and just kind of prophylactic help. It is also, this is important, the strongest anti-inflammatory of all the essential oils. Many essential oils are anti-inflammatory. Frankincense is at the top. I'll show you something else I like to do with frankincense. This is, if you don't want to put it on your tongue, or if you feel like a full drop on your tongue is too strong, try this. And this also is great for headaches and migraines. I just turn the bottle upside down with my thumb on it, and then I press it up to the roof of my mouth. We're friends now, right? And I hold it there for about 10 seconds. And so that's a way to kind of get a smaller dose, and again, really helps with headaches and things like that. Yeah, balance of frankincense. Once you start using them, they will be your precious, precious friends. I cannot stress that enough. All right, let's talk about respiratory issues. So any respiratory issues, seasonal allergies, coughs, colds, bronchitis, sinus infections, asthma, and any of those conditions, what can be quite supportive for your respiratory health is an oil that's aptly named Breathe. So Breathe is an oil that is fantastic diffused, and so if myself or my husband or my daughter have any coughing issues through the night, we diffuse it at night, diffuse it during the day. It's actually a really nice adaptogenic oil where it, if you use it during the day, it kind of peps you up. You use it at night, it's actually very calming, helpful for snoring. I know a lot of people like to use it for that. And so this one's great, just breathed right in your hands. This is one oil that we don't take internally because of the eucalyptus in it. And but you can use it topically, so applying right onto the chest, right onto the neck, right wherever that tickle in the throat is that's making you cough, down deeper in the chest. But I'll show you something I like to do with it, which is quite powerful. I make a breathe bong. So I put 1 drop in my hand. I'm going to rub my palms together just like I did with my peppermint. I could breathe it in through my nose, right, of course. And if I had sinus, stuffy nose issues, I would do that. But if I really want to affect my chest and my lungs, I'm going to breathe it in through my mouth. So I just cup 1 hand. So that penetrates really, really deep into the lungs. I wish you could feel that yourselves. It is amazing. So respiratory issues, breathe. It's also my favorite oil for more extreme forms of anxiety, like when people get occasional panic attacks. If you think of what a panic attack feels like, right? You can't breathe. So even before I turn to some of the calming oils, I like to recommend the breathe for that. All right, moving on, we have 3 more. So the oil that I use for all digestive issues is called Digest Zen. And so that's another blend. I don't know if you can really read that, but that's what the bottle looks like. And Digest Zen is the oil that I affectionately refer to as the oil for everything whole to whole. Right? Because that's really all your digestive tract is. So this means acid reflux, nausea, overeating, over drinking, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, any of those, Digest Zen. And sometimes that's hard for us to kind of wrap our minds around, because when we go to the drugstore, what do we see? We see an area for constipation, and that's one set of drugs, right? And then we see for diarrhea, and then we see for bloating, and it's all different drugs for these individual symptoms. And you know that if you take the constipation remedy for when you have diarrhea, there's going to be a problem, right? So you don't want to confuse them. Well, again, because essential oils have such a complex chemical profile, they're really helping solve that root problem and not just addressing the symptoms, which is what a lot of over-the-counter medications do. So you can take this internally. You can put it in a gel cap and swallow it. You can do what sometimes we refer to as the shot glass remedy. Just put a little drop of water and shoot it back. You can do the tequila lick, right? Like I did before. That's very helpful. I actually think Digest Zen works best just applied topically wherever you're having the discomfort. So if it's acid reflux, you're going to apply it probably a little higher up on your chest towards your esophageal gastroesophageal sphincter, right, which is usually where people feel the acid reflux or the GERD. If it's your tummy upset, you're going to rub on the left side where your stomach is. If it's more gas, bloating, more elimination problems, you're just going to rub clockwise with your entire over your entire abdomen to get the intestines, and really relief within minutes. It is amazing drug or essential oil, and I would never ever travel anywhere without it. So this is always in my purse, but particularly when I travel, I bring a nice full bottle, and I never go on a plane or a boat without it, for sure. So that's Digest Zen. And then next is, how about some musculoskeletal discomfort, right? Do we get some aches, pain, sore muscles, maybe sore joints? So the oil for that is a really powerful blend called Deep Blue. It comes in a little bottle like this. And the way I like to use it, Deep Blue is great and comes in some of our starter kits, which is fantastic. But then it also comes in what's called the Deep Blue Rub. And so that's an entire bottle of the essential oil, diluted, so already kind of pre-mixed in a nice shea butter based lotion. And so, you can throw it in your gym bag, and it's really easy to use. I think the jocks used to complain, like, it's this tiny bottle and it gets lost in our gym bag and everyone looks at us funny, right? So they gave them something a little simpler to use, maybe a little bit more manly, I don't know. But it is very convenient in this form. So rubbed directly on, so this is one you're probably not gonna diffuse and you're not gonna take internally, for sure. This is one you're mainly gonna use, Deep Blue is for topical use. And so rubbing it right on the back of the neck, upper back where you have tension, on an elbow that's sore, a knee, your feet, your lower back, whatever it is. Deep Blue is your best friend for occasional musculoskeletal pain. And can I get some likes here? I know there are many of you watching it who love this this blend, and this is the blend that sometimes converts skeptics. So people who are like, oh, essential oils, that's pretty woo woo. That's like, what is that anyhow? Isn't that witches and I don't know, kind of out there, you give them a little deep blue and they'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing. I have to have some of that. Again, giving you working with your body to give you that immediate symptomatic relief while healing the root cause. So, and this month, if you're interested, until the end of March, doTERRA is actually giving away both deep blue oil and the deep blue rub with qualifying orders. So that's like about $100 in free oils. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'd love to tell you how to get the deep blue for free for the next, what do we have? About 13, 14 days in the month, I think. So, by the way, happy spring equinox, those of you who are watching live. All right, and then last but not least, let's do one more oil for sleep, right? Because as a yoga therapist, the two things that I see over and over again is people would like to feel more energy, so that's why we started with peppermint, and people would like to sleep better. And so let's talk about one more oil for that. Of course, balance would be helpful. Frankincense would be helpful too. You know, lavender is helpful for sleep. This is a little bit more potent of a blend, and this is called Serenity. And so Serenity is a blend of lavender, Roman chamomile, geranium, ylang-ylang. It also has a cedarwood and vetiver in it. Vetiver is the oil for overthinking. Does anyone relate to that? And it's this really potent blend to help you with, again, occasional stressful feelings, and mainly to help you get restful sleep. So this is an oil I love to diffuse in my bedroom at night. Some people will just diffuse it before bed to help get them mentally and physically prepared to go to sleep. I will apply it to the bottoms of my feet, sometimes add it to my balance. Also lovely behind the neck, behind the ears, heart center. And a lot of people like Serenity on their wrists, because if you notice, when you sleep, a lot of people tend to sleep kind of, curled up like this, and so your wrists are right there and you're constantly breathing in those powerful aromatic compounds. So Serenity is a fantastic, fantastic oil to help with restful sleep. So those are my 8. I hope that was fun. I have posted a link in the description of this video of where you can peruse essential oils and learn a little bit more. That link actually has some great DIY recipes right there. Beautiful bath salts and cleaning, natural cleaning products you can make on your own. And it also has a whole section on recipes, so if you're culinary minded and would like to have some recipes on how to actually cook with essential oils, there's like I think 25 or 30 recipes right there from that link you can look at. Of course, you can buy the essential oils there too. I love doing wellness consults directly with people because I like to really hear what your family is struggling with right now, or what conditions you're looking to help improve, and to help recommend the specific essential oils that would most benefit and support your family and your unique needs, so that you get what you need and don't get anything you don't need, and you feel really confident in using them. So you can message me, or it might be, Facebook can be a little tricky with messaging sometimes, so I actually prefer if you would email me, which that's in the description as well. It's pretty easy though, it's just kate@kateyoga.com. So email me and we'll hop on the phone or Skype or FaceTime, and I can do a little 20-minute wellness consult with you and help really fine-tune which essential oils would be most helpful for you. Again, you can get the deep blue and the deep blue rub for free this month, which is pretty cool, by ordering before the end of March. And then there's something I personally like to give away for some of my new enrollees, which is my favorite book. Really, it's the only essential oil book you'll ever need, which is called The Essential Life. And this is my personal gift for some of you who enroll with me before the end of the month too. So let me know if you're interested in that, and I can tell you how to get the book from me for free. But post any questions you have. And again, if you have specific health conditions, I know someone was asking about neuropathy and MS. Those really are things better for me to discuss one-on-one with you, even if it's just a messenger chat or email or over the phone. I can get a little more specific when we do it one-on-one together privately. So I hope you enjoyed, and please get in touch with me if I can be further help. and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.